Hello everybody, I hope that your day is doing great. Welcome to our regular Thursday lectures. Today we've got lots of exciting things in store for you. But before we get started, let me just briefly introduce myself. As some of you may already know, my name is Victoria and I'm the outreach coordinator for the Education USA network here in Ukraine. We are, of course, part of the global network of the US Department of State, which consists of over 335 international student advising centers in more than 180 countries. As the official source on US higher education, we offer always accurate, comprehensive, and unbiased information about opportunities to study at accredited colleges and universities in the United States. And today we're going to focus on American community colleges. One of the best kept secrets of the American education system is, of course, the 2+2 program, which community colleges usually facilitate. Community colleges offer a simplified admission procedure at a much lower tuition fee. And, of course, also scholarships. So two-year colleges are a great opportunity to gradually adapt to American culture and really improve your English. Classrooms are equipped with innovative tools and technologies, and they are, of course, aimed at developing practical skills. It is my honor to welcome our today's guest speakers, Dr. Jay Deichmann, Director of Global Initiatives at Hudson Valley Community College, and Mr. Aidan Glynn, Coordinator for International Student Services at Hudson Valley Community College. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're delighted to have you with us. And before we get started, I would just like to encourage our lovely viewers at home to please send out their questions, be proactive. We would love to interact with you and hear from you. Dr. Deichmann, please take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria, for such a wonderful introduction. And good evening to everybody. We are thrilled to be here again. I'm Dr. Jay Deichmann, the Director of Global Initiatives at Hudson Valley Community College. And a little later on, you'll be hearing from Mr. Aidan Glynn, our Coordinator for International Student Services. Again, very excited to speak with all of you today to really share with you information about the community college, what that is, how the community college interacts with other institutions in the U.S., and at the end of the day, really how a community college can benefit you and help you reach your educational goals. So with that, I am going to present a brief PowerPoint presentation. Thank you, Alexander, for the assistance. And let's get started. So, okay. So first of all, we talk about the higher education system in the United States. It is incredibly diverse. There's two sectors of higher education. There is the public sector and the private sector. Public institutions are funded by tax dollars. Private institutions are not, essentially. And then within the two systems, there's different institution types, offering various types of degrees with varying admissions requirements. And we have everything from 2-year colleges of technology, community colleges, 4-year colleges of arts and science, university centers, and others. So, again, the degree requirements will vary by state as far as what you have to complete in order to earn a degree. And there's a very large selection of academic programs in the United States. Now, I mentioned that there are two sectors of higher education institutions. Within those two sectors, there are more than 4,000 higher education institutions in the U.S. that are accredited, which means that they have been evaluated and their quality is verified as meeting standards by the United States government, Department of Education. And again, there's public institutions and private institutions. And when you talk about private institutions, there are nonprofit schools and for-profit schools. Right? And the difference is with that is in funding, not in the quality. All right, not in the quality. So again, we're talking institution types. There's community colleges, two-year colleges of two-year technical schools, colleges of arts and science, universities, specialized institutions, all different types of institutions in the United States. But let's focus on community colleges. Community colleges, number one, are public institutions. They offer a variety of academic and vocational programs. Credentials that are offered at the community colleges are typically certificates, associate degrees, which are two-year degrees, and sometimes bachelor's degrees. Some community colleges offer bachelor's degrees, four-year degrees. But typically the highest degree offered at a community college is the associate degree. So I mentioned that we talk about two-year technical schools or colleges of technology, right? Those schools can be public or private, and they offer a variety of technical and non-technical programs. And they offer, as far as credentials, certificates, associate degrees, and again, sometimes bachelor's degrees. All right. When we talk about colleges of arts and sciences, they can be public or private institutions, and they offer a variety of liberal arts and technical programs. Credentials offered include bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and advanced certificates. All right, and there's quite a bit of variety. Some colleges of arts and science, have almost all bachelor's degrees or exclusively bachelor's. Others may offer many master's degrees or advanced certificates. It really depends upon the institution. Then we talk about universities. Universities can be public or private institutions, and they offer a variety of liberal arts and technical programs. They offer bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, advanced certificates, and doctoral degrees. Now, having said that, there are some four-year colleges that also offer doctoral degrees. So the rules are not hard and fast. Okay, there is some diversity even amongst the institutions within different criteria. Then we have specialized institutions. They can be public or private, and they offer a variety of specialized programs, and that could be everything from optometry to welding to nursing. It could be a whole variety of fields. And they, again, offer bachelor's degrees, master's, advanced certificates, and sometimes doctoral degrees as well. So again, as you can see, that higher education in the U.S. is very diverse. But let's take a closer look at community colleges, because community colleges are the most unique feature of U.S. higher education, because they provide access to higher education for everyone. Community colleges were initially called junior colleges, and they were originally designed to prepare students strictly for transfer to baccalaureate institutions, meaning they were designed originally so students can come there, spend their time there, and then transfer on to get a bachelor's degree. That was the original design. Community colleges evolved tremendously over the years. Today, community colleges offer a variety of academic programs along with non-credit workforce development programs. So let me just elaborate on that and say that, yes, community colleges still do prepare students to transfer to a four-year institution to complete a four-year degree, which we'll talk about a little more. But they do more than that. Community colleges offer academic programs that allow students to enter the workforce directly after they graduate in a variety of fields, such as advanced manufacturing, automotive technical services, construction, crop application specialists, electrical construction and maintenance, hospitality, and nursing, and again, many others. So students can earn degrees that they can go right into the workforce, or earn degrees they can then transfer on to complete a four-year degree. Community colleges offer academic programs that allow students to continue to pursue a bachelor's degree after graduation. As I said, examples include biological science, business administration, computer information systems, cybersecurity, digital media, engineering, science, environmental science, liberal arts, physical sciences, and many more. Now, there are benefits of attending a community college. First, there's diverse quality academic programs. Community colleges have the most diverse academic programs of all the institution types. You have small class sizes. All right. Small class sizes are very important. At community colleges, the focus is on teaching. While some of the faculty members may do research, their focus is on teaching. So in your classes, you will be taught by professors versus teaching assistants, because the professors are focused on teaching rather than off doing research. Community colleges offer great support services for students, because we know that students come in from a variety of backgrounds and therefore need a variety of different support services. Community colleges are affordable. The cost of community college is typically significantly lower than a four-year institution, public or private. And as I noted before, community colleges are a pathway to a four-year degree. So what does that mean, a pathway to a four-year degree? So the first step is a student comes to community college and they complete their associate's degree, their two-year degree. Then they transfer to a four-year institution for an additional 2 years to earn a four-year degree. So it's simple math. You do 2 years at the community college, 2 years at the four-year school, put it together, and you have a four-year degree. 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's very simple. Now, different questions come up. And one question is transferring from a community college to a four-year institution easy? And the answer is yes. Community colleges have articulation agreements with institutions. Those are agreements that will indicate exactly what credits will transfer. But even without an agreement, community college credits are very transferable. They're very portable. Community college will offer support from their transfer office. And community colleges are part of or connected to larger public college and university systems. So in the United States, every state in the U.S. has a state university system, and within every state there are community colleges. Another question, is the four-year degree that you earn after transferring from a community college the same as the degree earned by students who attended the four-year institution from the start? And the answer is yes. The degree is the same. There's no special notation on the diploma. If you attend a community college for 2 years and then transfer to a four-year school and finish a bachelor's from there, it's the same bachelor's degree as a student who did the full 4 years there. There's no difference in the degree. So at this time, what I'd like to do is turn the presentation over to my colleague, Mr. Aidan Glynn.
Good afternoon, all, and thank you so much for having me today. It's an honor to be speaking with you this evening. I just wanted to speak a little more about Hudson Valley Community College in particular. So Hudson Valley was founded in 1953 in Troy, New York. I myself was founded in the 90s in Troy, New York. So we're located centrally in New York near Albany, which is the capital. And we are part of the State University of New York system, known as SUNY. Here at Hudson Valley, we have over 14,000 students in credit-bearing and non-credit courses yearly. We have a 120-acre main campus, and one thing that really sets us apart is our 19-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. This makes a big difference in the classroom when students actually know their professors and can build relationships with them. Here at Hudson Valley, we have over 80 degree and certificate programs. These academic programs are divided into 3 separate schools. The first, STEM, the School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. The second, School of Business and Liberal Arts. And the third, the School of Health Services. And like Dr. Deichmann said, here at Hudson Valley, we focus on a pathway to a 4-year degree. We have over 250 articulation agreements with 4-year colleges and universities across the United States. For example, the University at Albany, Boston University, Cornell University, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the Rensselaer Polytech Institute, and Rochester Institute of Technology. These articulation agreements make things easier when transferring, and they make transfer credits that more applicable to larger schools. At Hudson Valley, the estimated financial requirements for international students in US dollars is $14,190.24 for tuition and college fees per one academic year. As an international student, we also calculate your living cost per academic year to live here in the United States, and we also calculate them combined with your total cost per academic year, averaging at about $36,660. So that's a little bit more about Hudson Valley, and I think before we jump to questions, we may want to mention Dr. Deichmann may want to discuss our global classroom project a little.
Thank you, Mr. Lynn. Much appreciated. So yes, before we move on to questions, I did want to mention one program that's not on the slides, and that is our Global Classroom program. Actually, it's fully the Global Classroom High School program. Thank you, Alex, for putting up the QR code. The Global Classroom High School program allows high school students outside the United States to take Hudson Valley Community College courses fully online at a very reduced rate. The classes are all online, asynchronous, meaning you log in when you can. There's no set time, and they all use materials that are either open education resource materials or digital access materials. So you don't have to deal with any textbooks. Okay. Now, during the fall and spring, the cost for the courses is 70 USD per credit hour. So a 3-credit course would be 210 USD, which is very low for a US course, to be sure. And there's a variety of courses, and we're currently finalizing our spring menu of courses, and that menu will be out shortly, and that will be forwarded to Victoria, who can then forward it on to all those interested. Now, in the past few summers, we have also done something different with the Global Classroom program. The past few summers, we have allowed students to take up to 8 credit hours at no cost to the student. We have fully scholarshiped those costs. We are still making determinations for this summer, but that's what we've done the past few summers. So even if the cost is not fully scholarshiped, 210 USD per course is an incredible price. And the courses are highly transferable. I've had students over the years who've taken a number of those courses and then attended a U.S. institution and transferred credits. I had, for example, a gentleman last this summer, I think he contacted me. He was attending Northeastern in the United States and had transferred in about 15 credits. So anyway, that's the Global Classroom High School program. There is a QR code up in the top of the screen that you can scan and take you to the website. More information will be available, but I did want to mention that because I think it's of interest to a lot of people, or might be of interest to a lot of people. So with that, if it's okay, we're happy to move to questions. So I'll turn it over to Victoria for that, to lead that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deichmann and Mr. Glenn, for a wonderful presentation. I highly enjoyed it, and I would just like to encourage our lovely viewers at home to please not hesitate to send in your questions. We are more than happy to answer all of them and to assist you in any ways that we can. While we wait for questions, I actually have a question of my own that I often get from students, if you don't mind.
Please.
And it would be one about funding, of course. So international students, and in particular Ukrainian students, are very worried about the cost of studying in the United States. And could you maybe share any opportunities in receiving scholarships, or maybe just working on campus that are available at Hudson Valley Community College?
Sure. Sure. So I'll answer just about just in general and then specific to Hudson Valley, just to give so certainly when you're applying to a U.S. college, always ask about scholarships. Okay. Always ask about scholarships that are available from the institutions. Right. Some have more, some have less, but always ask. And also about on-campus employment. Now, for Hudson Valley, we deal with our scholarships for international students on a case-by-case basis. When students apply, if they're interested in scholarships, we find out what their need is, what their specific situation is, and then from there we see what we can do. As a community college, because our costs are very low in comparison to a four-year college or university, scholarship models are different. So we certainly do have scholarships available, right? But because our costs are lower, the need for larger scholarships is less. But there are scholarships students can apply for, and we have some great opportunities. For example, for students who want to apply to our honors college, which is a track in the college, and that's for students who are highly dedicated, highly motivated. The honors college, if you're accepted into the honors college, that comes with a full tuition scholarship. Okay, and we have had international students in the honors college. We talk about jobs on campus. There are jobs available on campus. Now, understand international students, and this is important. When international students coming to the U.S., in order to obtain their Form I-20, the certificate of eligibility for an F-1 visa, they have to prove that they have the ability to meet their financial requirements. So, while there are jobs available on any college campus, jobs are not unlimited, right? So you cannot and should not count on an on-campus job to meet your educational expenses. It's okay if you want to have an on-campus job to give you extra money to help, but you cannot count on an on-campus job unless the institution you're applying to is able to guarantee you an on-campus job before you come. I will say Hudson Valley Community College, when international students express interest in working, we go through great efforts to find jobs for international students. Okay. But understand across the board that, there's no guarantee that a student, when they're coming to the U.S., will have a job on campus. So you have to be prepared for that. But you should always ask about it to be sure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daihmane, for such an informative answer. And another question we often get is about the admission requirements. In particular, what are some of the things that admission officers look for besides the academics that can really help a student stand out and receive the long-awaited acceptance letter from their favorite college or university?
Okay, again, that's another great question. So certainly admission requirements are going to vary based upon institution and institution type. Okay, so let me speak a little bit about community colleges more specifically. And so generally speaking, community colleges, of course, obviously you're applying, submitting your academic records, proof of English proficiency, right, which is standard in different ways. Proficiency exam, a report from an instructor, an essay, etc. Okay, that's all that stuff is standard. But the question is how to make yourself stand out. Okay, so, and this is in no particular order. First of all, when you're writing your essay, okay, because most colleges will require international students to submit an essay. All right, please put effort into that essay. All right, that essay is your way of presenting yourself beyond just what's on the application. Your way of presenting yourself to the admissions office, to the international office, to the body that's looking at scholarships, the office that might be looking at scholarships. All right. So put your best foot forward with your essay. All right. Write an honest essay, something that's from the heart. Okay. And that really gives the folks reading it a picture of who you are. All right, that's number one. Number two, another way to make yourself stand out is, by including a list of the activities that you're involved with. All right. Now, you could have a resume or a CV, which is helpful. Not required, but helpful to give a picture of who you are. But if not that, at least a list of the activities you're involved with, whether that's clubs, organizations, whether it's sports, scouting, the drama club, community service, whatever it is. All right. But so this way that again, the idea is so when the admissions officer is reading your application or when the scholarship committee is looking at your application, they have a real idea of who you are. All right. Another thing I would say is, even if it's not required, feel free to reach out to the institution to schedule, an interview, a face-to-face, face-to-face or Zoom call, right, or Zoom or whatever platform you're using. Even if that's not required, help the institution put a name with a face. Okay, that's always incredibly helpful. That certainly makes a difference, and it shows initiative. And everybody likes initiative. Okay. Also, and this may sound like a commercial, but make sure you're working with Education USA throughout the process, getting guidance on on the best way to proceed. All right. Because and again, I'm not getting paid to say this, but they're really going to be your best local resource for helping you access higher education in the U.S. So really reach out to them early and often. And obviously, if you're watching this, if you've tuned in today, you're interacting with the office in some way, shape, or form already, which is great. But keep that up. Don't stop doing that. So I hope that answered your question, at least to some extent.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daihmhanon, for such a wonderful advice and for encouraging our students to really collaborate closely with our advisors here at Education USA. We are, of course, always available for a free consultation, whether in person at our offices in Kyiv or online. And we are here to guide you through every step of the process, whether you are just beginning to take an interest in studying in the United States, or you're maybe already sending out applications and are really looking for a way to take that extra step and make your application shine and make yourself really stand out to the admission officers. Right. So please do not hesitate to reach out. And we've got a question from Elena. So Elena is wondering, good evening, glad to meet you. And what are some of the steps that she can do to start preparing to be a student at Hudson Valley Community College? And also, can she get more information about online education?
Okay, great. So great question. So thank you, Elena. Thank you very much for the question. So certainly for Hudson Valley Community College specifically, if you go to our website, hvcc.edu, and if you click on find the link up at the top for admissions and aid, there are links that will take you directly to information about admissions, about the process, the application. The first thing I would say to do is to visit the website, review the information. It's very important that you, and this may sound obvious, but it's very important that you read the information that's provided. All right. And then once you've read that, then reach out with any specific questions. But the first step is to submit an application. It's free to apply. There's no cost at all, okay, to apply to the college. And I recommend that you apply early, right? So the year that you're going to be graduating from high school, thank you, Alex, that you apply early to get the process started. Because sometimes it takes time sending documents back and forth, even if it's electronic or gathering documents. Okay, you don't want to wait till the last minute. Now, one recommendation I would make is, if you're looking at Hudson Valley Community College, if you're not sure, apply. It doesn't hurt to apply. It doesn't hurt to start the process and get accepted. Even if you think, well, I'm not sure that I want to go there, I might be looking at other schools, that's okay. Apply to Hudson Valley, get accepted, because you may decide that the best program, the best option might be at Hudson Valley Community College, or your plans may need to change for some reason, and you may need to have a backup, okay? And that happens. I mean, we are a fantastic number one choice if we are what you're looking for. But again, sometimes you may have another choice, and those plans may not work out. And then when they don't work out, if you have to wait to apply, then that process might be a little cumbersome and might be very stressful. So it's free to apply. There's no reason not to. Okay, it's a quick application. You send in the documents. I would say also, for the steps, as with any college, make sure you're keeping track of what you send in and what you don't send, and what's still needed. Okay. Also, just a tip about when you write your essay, always have somebody proofread your essay. Okay. Always have someone proofread your essay. Okay. I always have someone proofread anything. Mr. Glenn was proofreading for me earlier this week. Okay. Always have somebody proofread what you write. It's very, very helpful. It makes a big difference. But the second part of the question, I don't want to lose the second part of the question, was
where can we get more information about online education?
Right, online, absolutely. hvcc.edu as the link is posted. I will also I'll also put in the chat and ask if it can be thrown up. An email address. An email address that you can write to, international@hvcc.edu, if you want to have specific information sent to you as well. Okay. We've tried to make it easy, so we use the word international, and there's no, yeah. Great. What other questions can we answer?
Thank you so much for all of your wonderful answers, and thank you to Elena for being so active today. I would just like to add that Education USA, as I previously said, is here to support you 100% of the way. So if you're at the essay writing stage, you can always send in your essay to receive feedback, and for our wonderful advisors to read it and give you some of their thoughts, as well as some of the things you may want to enhance or even rephrase, so that you can present yourself in the best way possible.
Victoria, can I add one or two more comments about more questions may come in, but some folks may still be wondering, why apply to a community college? That's not what I'm interested in. All right. So we talked about the fact that you're welcome, Elena. You're welcome for the explanation. That class sizes are smaller, and we talked about the support that you get. And those are two very important factors, because you're going to get support at a community college that's different than the support that you get at a larger four-year institution. Okay, it just is, because we're used to working with population of varying needs. All right, but why else should you apply? We talked about the financial part, so we did that. Well, when you're an international student and you're in the U.S., you're entitled to what's called optional practical training. That's employment, right, based upon your field of study. And you're entitled to 12 months of optional practical training for each degree level. 12 months for certificate, another 12 months if you're working on an associate's, another 12 months if you're doing a bachelor's, master's, PhD, okay? So if a student comes to a community college and does their 2-year degree first, they can then spend a year working and getting paid and getting practical experience before they start their bachelor's degree. They can then get another year of paid employment, paid work experience when they're doing their bachelor's. So just from a practical training perspective, you get an extra year. Number two, when you transfer from a community college, most four-year colleges and universities, in addition to having whatever scholarships they may offer international students, they also often offer transfer scholarships for transfer students. So you may be able to get more money as a transfer student for scholarships than you would coming right into a 4-year school. Along those lines, at the 2-year level, the community college level, there is a national, actually it's a worldwide honor society, Phi Theta Kappa, which is an honor society for 2-year colleges. And most 4-year institutions will offer an additional scholarship transferring for folks who are Phi Theta Kappa members. So there might be a considerable amount more of scholarship dollars available to you if you start off at a community college, right? Additionally, students who start off at community colleges, it's reported, typically have a stronger foundation when they get to the 4-year school than students who started off at the 4-year school. And the reason why is because they started off with a school with small class sizes, where there was a lot of individual attention, a lot of support services. All right. If you start off at an institution, and I start off at a 4-year school, so I'm not criticizing it, but when I did my introduction to psychology class, there were 300 students in the class. And 300 students was a lot of students, but there are institutions where the psychology class might be 500 students, where 300 is small. Okay, so that's a big difference. And again, the support services at community colleges are incredible. So the other thing is, many students aren't really sure what they want to do when they first start college. The average college student changes their major more than once. Okay, and if you come to a community college, no matter what degree you're interested in, eventually, a community college can get you started on that path. Okay, no matter what program you're interested in, at the end of the day, community college can start you on the path to that degree. All right. So even if the program that you're interested in the end isn't at a community college, it doesn't mean you can't get started on that path. You can. There is a lot more flexibility at a community college because of the nature of the institution than there is at a 4-year institution, as far as changing majors and finding that path. I'm not saying you can't do it elsewhere, but there's more flexibility built into the system. So I wanted to just add those pieces of information, because students often ask about that no one did today, but it still might have been on somebody's mind.
Thank you so much for diving deeper into the benefit of community colleges, as well as giving some words of encouragement to our lovely viewers here today. And I would actually like to follow up on something you've said. So you mentioned the Honors College program at Hudson Valley Community College. So I'm wondering, what are some of the requirements of students who are applying to Hudson Valley Community College that might get them considered for the Honors College program?
Sure. So just in short, and I'm not going to rattle off all the, because you can go online. Essentially, students have to have a high school average of 90 or above. They have to have a specific SAT score, a higher SAT score. They have to have letters of recommendation. Okay. They have to have taken a rigorous curriculum in their high school. Okay. But what's interesting is, oftentimes, and it's not always, but oftentimes when we have international students come in, many international students, because of the schools that they've attended and what they've done, many international students are already taking a rigorous course load in high school, right? And it oftentimes just comes down to what it is that they're interested in doing in the end. The honors track is for liberal, at this point, liberal arts and I think business. That's going to be expanded. Again, there's more information on the honors track on the Hudson Valley website. But it really is a great, because in addition to you're taking specialized courses, you're taking some rigorous courses that are only for honors college students, and it's really designed to push those academically motivated students, further along. But again, it's a rigorous curriculum. It's not an easy curriculum, but it's a curriculum designed to meet the educational needs of those students. And definitely worth checking out. And again, from a more, if you're upon a global perspective, certainly, other institutions, if you're looking at other institutions, South Hudson Valley, ask if they have an honors program, okay, and what that entails, what the requirements are, what the benefits are, okay. But that's a little bit about Hudson Valley's. But it's a great program, and again, students in the program receive full tuition scholarship.
Thank you so much for such an informative answer. And actually, another question I often get from students is about living. So often students wonder whether they will be able to live on campus if there's a campus at a US college or university, or whether they would have to look for accommodation on their own. So what is the situation like at Hudson Valley Community College?
Yep, great question. So Hudson Valley Community College, we do not own or operate college housing. That said, we have a housing apartment complex called College Suites across the street from us that exclusively houses college students that we work with. There are also ample housing in the area. So again, we do not own or operate, but we work closely with housing providers. Students, I can tell you, do not have difficulty finding housing. Now, that being said, obviously students, and this will be said anywhere, students who wait and who delay in the admissions process and finding housing, find fewer options, right? There's a saying in the United States, the early bird gets the worm, right? Meaning that the earlier you act, the more benefits you get. So that's across the board. But students don't have a problem finding housing, as long as they're doing what they need to do when they need to do it. A large percentage of my international students live in college suites, but not all of them. Some of them live in apartments elsewhere. And again, people don't seem to have a problem finding housing. The Student Activities Office has a housing guide that they put together that when people have apartments and rooms, etc. But again, that's a question and one of the advantages to us not having college housing that we require students to live in is that it gives students more latitude about where they live. So some students may want to live right in college suites. Some students might have family and friends who live in the area that they want to live with, or they may have a desire to live someplace else, a few miles away. Hudson Valley student, if you're a student, your student ID gives you free ridership on the Capital District transportation system. So even if you live a few miles or more from campus and you don't have a car, as long as you can get to a bus stop, you have access to get to college. And that's a really nice convenience. So you can live at a distance away, and if you don't have a car, just take the bus, to be sure. So that's a nice benefit. So, but it's a great question. You have to decide what works for you, what fits, and sometimes being required to live on college housing doesn't always work for everybody, especially financially, because oftentimes the cost of living in campus housing is often higher than living off campus. Not always, but it often is. So.
Thank you so much for your answer and for taking a closer look at the cost of living and the opportunities that are available to international students at Hudson Valley Community College. And I would just like to give one last call for questions. So if you still have any questions to us, we're more than happy to assist you and to help you, as well as provide any additional resources you may require. And while we wait, I would just like to ask Dr. Daihmane, do you have any final words of encouragement or maybe any advice you would like to share with aspiring students who are looking to apply to community colleges?
Absolutely, and thank you for the opportunity. I think the one thing that I would leave you with, and obviously we've talked about the benefits of community colleges already, and I'm not going to repeat those because we've gone through them, and some of them more than once. I've traveled all over the globe recruiting over the years, and many times, when I'm introducing my college, students will say, well, I've never heard of your school. Never heard of your school. Okay. And I want to just tell a quick story if I can to help. Okay. I was at a recruitment event in China as at a high school, and I was introducing my school, and it was a very, very large high school in China, a very prestigious high school in China. Okay. And I asked the students in the room, I said, raise your hand if you think that your high school is a good high school. And hands shot up. I said, raise your hands if you think that your high school is a great high school. And more hands shot up. And then I said to them, well, I have to tell you something. Up until about a month ago, when I was looking at the schedule, I never heard of your high school. I knew nothing about your high school. I didn't know anything about how good it was. So I said, so if I've never heard of it, does that mean it's not a good school? No. It just means I've never heard of it. There's over 4,000 accredited colleges and universities in the United States, and that includes community colleges. Great institutions with wonderful programs that meet students' needs, that provide support services, that give them a pathway to a 4-year degree that is not only affordable and efficient and effective, but very realistic. Okay. And the truth of the matter is, you haven't heard of most of those schools, but it doesn't mean they're not great schools. It just means you haven't heard of them. So I would advise you when you're in your college search, looking at USD. Obviously, we'd love to have you look at Hudson Valley Community College, right? And you have my contact information, and we'd be happy to speak with you. But when you're doing your college search, and you come across an institution that you haven't heard of before, don't discount it because you haven't heard of it. Okay, all that means you haven't heard of it. Doesn't say anything about the institution, just that you haven't heard of it. And I know I keep saying that, but again, I think about those students in China who, thought the high school was great. And by the way, it was a good school, to be sure. But, I'd never heard of it before. Now I know it. Now I know this school. Okay. But before I did. And so that would be my last piece of advice that I would leave you all with. I'll ask, I don't know if Mr. Glenn has anything he'd like to add, but okay. But that would be the last piece of advice we would give. So I'll turn it back to you, Victoria.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daishman and Mr. Glenn, for such a wonderful session today. I highly enjoyed interacting with you and learning from you more about community colleges and their benefits and how they can be a great way for students to get their foot in the door and to really explore the variety of options that are available in the United States, as well as get really high quality education and personal contact and interaction with the professors and teachers who will be working with them. So I would just like to encourage our lovely students at home, if you still have any questions about applying to the US in general or community colleges in particular, Education USA is always here to assist you and provide you with the necessary resources. You can always sign up for a free consultation, and if you're interested in Hudson Valley Community College in particular, I would be happy to answer all of your questions or reach out to Mr. Glenn or Dr. Deichmann with any questions you may have. Thank you so much for being with us. Please believe in yourself, believe in your dream, and then you can make it a reality. I wish you all the best of luck. Stay safe and stay with Education USA. Bye.